So there was a water bearer in India a long time ago, and he was carrying these two pots at the end, hung at the end of the poles on either sides, and he walked from the stream all the way to his master's house. Now one of the pots was properly made and it did leak, but there was another pot which had a crack in it, so it was a cracked pot, and the water would eventually leak every time he would walk from the stream up to the master's house. And this went on for almost 2 years. So after a point, the cracked pot finally went up to the went up to the water bearer, and was feeling really sad. So told the bearer that I feel really ashamed of myself that because I cannot fulfill my entire duty, because I cannot give you my entire capacity, you are losing out on your efforts, on your full efforts. So the water bearer was feeling sad for the cracked pot, so in his compassion he told the cracked pot that, have you ever noticed the path that we take from the stream to the master's house? There are flowers growing all on your side of the path and not on the other side. I knew about your flaws and I took advantage of it. Every time that you walk towards the master's house, I had planted seeds, flower seeds, and over 2 years, your pot, you used to leak water through it. Watered all these seeds, and now we have flowers. So had you not been a cracked pot, I wouldn't have been able to take these flowers to decorate my master's tables. My story is not much different from this cracked pot. My father, being the water bearer in my life, he planted the seeds of sportsmanship in me at a very young age. He realized, he saw something in me which I myself didn't see. My disability was never limited in his eyes. I was introduced to cricket at the age of 6. I was taken to the coach, and the coach looked at me and was confused, like, how is this guy going to play? So my father was like, why not just give him a try, throw a few balls maybe. So the coach gave me a bat and started throwing a few balls at me. I was playing cricket for the first time, so I have no idea what to do. He's throwing balls and I'm just aimlessly swinging my bat and not even connecting one ball. I failed. At the age of 6, I was facing failure. That evening I went back home and my father tells me, use what you have, deal with it. So my father and I improvised as to how to use the bat and how to use my own cracked pot, bring it to my advantage. So that's how I started batting then. Started using my right arm as a support mechanism to play a straight drive or a cover drive, a pull, so that the bat doesn't flick off. So that's how I started batting. I started going to the coach every week, training, practicing. Over 10 years of training and practicing, finally one day something really wonderful happened. I got selected to represent West Bengal for the under-16 team. So, cricket hasn't been the only sport that I've played. I've even had the opportunity to represent my school for swimming, basketball, dance. Last year I also tried out surfing, skiing, deep sea diving. You must be thinking that I'm crazy by now, that I'm doing all this and I have nothing else to do in my life. But I'll show you what's crazy. This is Bangalore traffic on a good day. This is crazy. This is crazy. And this is the reason why I started cycling. It would take me almost 2 hours on a daily basis to commute to work. So because of which I gave up on the traffic. I was being the traffic rather than being stuck in traffic. So I got out, got a bike, and I started riding to work. So a cyclist has to go through a lot of wind resistance. And to move forward, you have to push through a mass of air in front of you, which takes energy. So I realized that, hey, I have 2 legs to pump in the energy. I have 1 less arm to be more aerodynamic. So that saves up to 10% of energy, which is quite a lot. So as soon as I realized that, hey, this might be a sport. And then I started cycling. I subsequently got in touch with the Aditya Mehta Foundation, This foundation promotes and enables para-bodies, differently abled civilians and armed personnel to take up sports and represent the country by providing them with all kinds of supports required. So I got in touch with them, sending my queries, my own questions, and asking for associations if I could tie up with them. And in no time, they accepted it, and I became an ambassador for the same. In 5 months' time of started to ride, I took up a challenge to go from Manali to Khardungla. And I started doing hill trainings in Bangalore itself to see if I can test myself. The whole reason of doing this was I wanted to see how far could I push myself, how far could I go and go beyond my limits to fight against the adverse climes, the weather, to reach the highest motorable road in the world. And so it happened. We went through Manali to Khardungla, and it makes you go through a lot of pain and suffering, let me tell you that. Because every climb burns your legs, it shoots your heart rates up to 180 and beyond. And you know, in those times of complete and utter despair is when I really found my whole new level of consciousness, a whole new level of strength which I didn't know I had. And maybe that's the reason why we all tackle challenges and we tackle crimes. Because they might look scary, they might look like an enemy, but they all are friends in disguise. They help us grow, they help us become stronger in life. Ever since childhood, every sport that I've played, I've always wanted to represent the country. It's crazy. I've visualized it all, like standing on the podium with the Indian national anthem going on, with the Indian flag being hoisted, with the medal being put on, the cup, the bouquet. I've visualized it so clearly that I still chase that dream till this very day. And earlier this year in Jan, I got a call from the foundation saying that the Cycling Federation of India, the CFI, is willing to send a few athletes to Bahrain for the Asian Paracycling Championship. I was like, please, yeah, write my name, put it right across, like I want to go, this is made for me. And in a week's time, we had a tryouts in Hyderabad. 8 people were shortlisted. I was one of them. And then we moved to Bahrain. Then the contingent, we left for Bahrain on the 22nd of Feb. On the 25th of Feb was our race day, so we had ample time to acclimatize, to get to know the weather, to know the track. And while sitting at the hotel reception, we were watching at the other contingents walking, and it was scary. Their equipment, their fitness level was far, far, far more superior than ours. And it did scare, it did intimidate us to a huge extent. But all that I had on my mind going on at that point was gold, 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 gold. One day before the race day was the classification and the medical checkups day, where the medical doctors test your blood samples and do the testing to classify you in a certain category. So when the Indian contingent with the new athletes went there were no medical doctors to do that. So there was a lot of arguing going on, and in the end, the officials who were organizing it, they concluded saying that we cannot win the race. We can definitely participate, but we won't be allowed to win it. Even if we were the best, we still wouldn't get on the stage podium. Like 12 hours before the race, you're telling me that we cannot go on to win. We've worked for so many months, our efforts, our money, all goes to vain. So a few calls were made to the CFI in India, and they cleared it out overnight with the organizers, and there was some miscommunication. So it turned out that over a one-off situation, they permitted the new athletes of the Indian contingent to participate on a regular, normal basis, and were permitted to win the medals. The next day was our race day. It's a 13-kilometer time trial race. So with the coach and the contingent being like, he was telling us as to how to go about it, and the whole strategy was being mentioned. I was the first one to start off. And as the bearer blew the whistle, all I knew was just shoot, just go, gold, 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 gold. That was the only thing going on in my mind. It was a very sunny day, but a very, very windy day in Bahrain that day, where we had very strong headwinds, very strong crosswinds. So I did start off pretty well with my average speeds at around 43, 44 kilometers per hour. But in no time, when the wind started hitting me and holding it only on one side, the handle, with the wind hitting me on the right and the left, it gets a little wobbly when it's a strong crosswind. So the speeds dropped. It came down to 39, 38, 37, which is really bad. You know, motivation is found in the remotest of least of the expected quarters. Somewhere near my 8-kilometer mark, I started to lose steam, and up on the stands I saw this one gentleman standing with one placard saying, "Pain is temporary, Facebook posts are permanent." It was strategically placed mid-ride motivation. Laughed off looking at this, and I started sprinting again. Finished my ride in 21 minutes, and I turned around to start calculating time for how far the next person is, so if I've outpaced him or not. The next person was a little more than a minute, so I decently outpaced him. And then I started to do it for the next and the next rider. I'll tell you this, it's not advisable to do math when your heart is pumping at 180 and 190. It's not a good idea. Once all the riders came in, we were asked to move towards the podium, and that's when the announcement started off. Bronze, 3rd position, Harinder Singh. Silver, 2nd position, Divij Shah, India. Gold, Abhishek Singh, India. From not bagging any medals at all, not being permitted to win, we went on to win all the 3 medals. And then the part of my dream started to unfold. We were asked to get onto the podium, the medals were being put on, the bouquet was given. I'll tell you this, being on a foreign land, with your Indian national anthem being sung behind, with the flags being hoisted, 3 Indian flags being hoisted, and a sheikh standing close by, looking at this and saying, "MashaAllah," it's priceless. Years ago, my life took a turn when I met with an accident. I was at my grandmother's place. I was playing with a paper aeroplane. I was done playing with it, so I wanted to throw it away. My mother and my cousins were inside the lift. It was a collapsible gate lift where you have to manually shut the door. And while they were inside and both the doors were shut, both the gates were shut, I put my right hand through it and asking them to please, you're going down, so please throw it away. I'm done playing with it. And at that very moment, somebody from the ground floor pressed the button. So the lift went down and the hand got cut. It fell on my mom, there was blood all over the place. And I was just looking at it. There was not even a tear in my eye. I think the whole shock of the event overpowered the pain at that moment. I walked back inside, my grandma was sitting there, I told her, "Nani, look what happened." And then I fainted because of blood loss. The next moment I woke up, I was on the hospital bed with my family around me. They had tears in their eyes, but they were still smiling, looking at me. I looked at my arm and I saw that it's over, it was all bandaged. I have to live with this. You know, a few accidents happen for a reason. If the pot wasn't cracked, the bearer wouldn't have been able to take the flowers for the master. Had I not lost my arm, I would have still been stuck in Bangalore traffic waiting to get back home right now. It doesn't matter what you don't have. What really matters is what you have and what you can do with it. I highly resonate with this quote by Rick Bulick. He said that pain is pain, broken is broken. But the only thing which can really disable you is fear. To conclude my talk, I'd like to tell you that something will grow from all that you're going through, and it will be you. Thank you.